Good afternoon, everybody, or whatever time zone you're in. So I've got Cletus and Wally from CryptoLink here, and we're just going to go over a bunch of different things and show you guys about their protocol. As I said in the description, if you've ever had issues bridging, this is definitely something that's going to be kind of a game changer in this field and in this environment. So I guess first off, if you guys want to introduce yourselves, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Yeah. And thank you for having us.
My pleasure.
My name is Cletus. I manage operations at CryptoLink.tech. I've been in the space for, probably 2 years now in general for the crypto space, been in DeFi for a little over a year. I got started with CryptoLink back when we were just kind of starting out, when we were called Printer Financial back in the day, and started off as an active community member, and then kind of got entrenched in our ambassador program, and then slowly kind of made my way up until the getting to know the team. And the next thing I knew, I was helping along, working with our founder and lead developer Atlas to manage operations and to do all that other good stuff. So I guess my background, besides for crypto, is in electrical engineering. So I have more of a technical background besides for just the crypto space. And I enjoy raising. I've got a couple dogs at home, just average guy who loves crypto, and really motivated by what we're doing here. I'm very excited to show it with you guys today.
Nice. And I guess also too, I know they're not on camera right now. I do know that Cletus, I believe actually you did give me your LinkedIn, so these are real people and with real jobs and real everything. And you guys do plan to, I think, at some point as things progress here, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And Wally, yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Wally. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, but my main focus is marketing, partnerships, business development, and strategy, and things like that over at CryptoLink. I don't really have a large crypto background. Got involved really at the beginning of last year, a little bit, dabbled. I had a little bit of Bitcoin, like very small, like $20 worth from, a couple of years ago and things like that. But, just never really got too involved. My background is in social sciences. So I went to the University of Michigan, and my degree is in political science and history. So that was my original background. Wanted to be a lawyer. I thought I did, at least at the time. Got through university and decided that I don't know if I'm up for another 3 years of this quite yet. So I ended up taking a different route. Grew up playing football, played a little bit of college football before I hung the cleats up. And so I went and coached college football after I graduated from university. So spent a couple of years coaching college football at a Division II school in the States. And then kind of got out of that and picked up a coaching career in high school baseball and high school football, running my own training business, things like that. And that's kind of my background there. But I got involved in CryptoLink kind of the same way Cletus did. Just active community member. Found there was a void in marketing. Obviously being a former college football coach, one of the crossovers there, the very few crossovers, is recruiting. One of my things I handled there was I was the recruiting coordinator. So that's a lot of crossover in marketing and things like that. So kind of took with it, ran with it, make all of our graphics, handle the YouTube page, social media pages, things like that. But yeah, it's a great project. That's kind of what I fell in love with, and fell in love with it so much that here we are about 7 months later, ready to launch our big platform. And it's been kind of a 24/7 all day, every day thing since then. So
nice. No, that's great. That's awesome. And yeah, definitely there's even for me, I was in sales, I guess, if you will. And so the marketing thing kind of comes hand in hand because you are an educator / promoter when you do these kind of things, and they kind of just bleed into each other, which is awesome. So, so I guess just because we do have a few people hanging in here, and they may be from different walks of life than where I've seen you guys and where I've learned about you guys. So I guess just an elevator pitch on what you're trying to do here and how you're trying to add value to the space to start with, and then hopefully that'll open up some questions from the audience, and we'll go over some things as well as for everybody. We will, I believe, go through a little bit of a walkthrough of how the system works and why it's different than what else is out there. So, and how it'll solve some problems in DeFi. So whichever one you want to take that away.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll take a stab at that. One way that I like to phrase it, and is it's in a kind of a unique way, but for everyone who's listening, I like taking this approach here, is to think about your first time bridging and think about how it was. Was it an easy experience? How long did it take? Was it expensive? For me, it was an overall pretty poor experience. I was bridging from the Phantom blockchain to the Polygon blockchain, and it took a long time. I took a leap of faith using the multi chain bridge, and it took around probably 30 minutes or so to get that transaction through. I tried sending multiple transactions, and it took a long time. And overall, it's really for someone who's new to the DeFi space, bridging from chain to chain is a complete hassle. And just being able to switch from Polygon on one chain to Phantom, or if you want to get more involved, from one DeFi token to another, it could take multiple platforms, a bunch of contract interactions, and 15, 30, maybe even hours of your time to be able to bridge from platform to platform.
And
And
stressful.
it's stressful. It really is. And you're really taking a leap of faith whenever you're doing so too. Like you hit that go button, and then you got to wait for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, and your funds don't come in. You never get a notification that they do. They just kind of appear. And if you're trying to make a quick trade, the traditional bridging infrastructure that's currently in DeFi is not good for interoperability, and it's not good for just people in general to get into DeFi and to learn the space. Where we're really right now, we're tolerating something that should not be acceptable, and that's where CryptoLink comes in. We have built a one-stop shop, one platform. We say one platform, one click, and we can bridge as fast as the blockchain. So what we are is we have developed a cross-chain infrastructure messaging layer that can send signals across the blockchains as fast as the blockchains can go. And we're currently using that to build out an any-to-any swap DEX that users can bridge any token on one blockchain to any token on another blockchain in one click instantly. And we're very excited to be releasing this. The date for release is early Q1 here. We're working with our auditors right now. We just made a partnership with an auditing company that we're working very closely with to get all of our code packaged up and sent out. But that is the major drop for us. We do have a lot of other stuff in our ecosystem as well, but that's what we plan on releasing here in the next coming weeks.
Nice. Yeah, and that I agree. Like when I first started in crypto was about the same time too, as February-ish or whatever during our lovely node season. And now we're in bot season that seems to be going just as well for some people. But yeah, it was the same kind of thing. It was, I think, a half an hour or more. One transaction I didn't find until I learned about DBank later on, and found the funds were sitting still. It was about $50, I think. They were still sitting in ETH, but I didn't realize I had moved them, I think in Matic or something. So I had $50 of Matic sitting in ETH that I found like months later. I think it was literally maybe 4 months ago or 3 months ago that I found it. So yeah, it's great that I didn't lose it, but at the same token, at the time, I thought it was gone. So
yeah, what really confused me was I was on Coinbase and I was withdrawing the Matic token, but at the time, so Coinbase did not allow direct withdrawals from the Matic token directly to the Polygon ecosystem, the Polygon blockchain. So I withdrawed it, and then it was the Matic token on Ethereum. And that really confused me because I'm thinking, okay, well, don't they have their own blockchain? Then I had to go and find the Polygon bridge and bridge the Matic token on the Ethereum blockchain to the Matic token on the Polygon blockchain.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. And I guess to get into a little bit of nitty gritties, and then maybe, like I said, the best thing is probably to show it. Because as I said, I've seen you guys a couple of times and we've talked through the process, but never really seen it. So that might be the best plan of attack. But the idea with you guys is there is a token with some utility here, but not necessarily a token you guys are using for monetary value, called the paper token, which is there to basically, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll just kind of give my own little synopsis based on what I remember, is it gets burnt on one chain where you're sending the funds from and then appears on the other chain or something along those lines. I'm probably oversimplifying.
Yeah, no, it's really as simple as that. We have two tokens in our ecosystem, but our main token is paper, and that is our bridging token. And as you're saying, yep, that's completely right. The way it works is that paper is burnt on the source chain and then minted on the destination chain. And that message that's sent across to tell it to burn and mint, that happens at the speed of the blockchain itself. So that's how we're able to so quickly transfer value across chains, is that the way that our ecosystem is structured is that we have the native token, the blockchain native token, or the blockchain native coins, however you want to call it. This would be your AVAX on Avalanche, or Matic on Polygon, or FTM on Phantom. These tokens are paired with our paper token. And then when we go about doing a cross-chain transaction, your funds are swapped into paper. Paper is then bridged across, burned on one side, and then minted on the destination chain. And then from there, it's swapped again into that other native token. And that's all done through smart routing, smart contracts, where those execute automatically, and you don't need to have token approvals for every single swap that's made there.
Cool. So I guess, and then in essence there, that's one thing I didn't realize. So it's almost creating its own liquidity pair as it moves over, so that there's no even need for the financial stuff to happen. Sort of.
Yeah. So there are liquidity pools on each side, but that's one thing that's unique to our platform, is we don't have what you'd call bridging liquidity pools. We don't use any wrapped liquidity. We don't believe in that. We think that wrapped liquidity per se, it adds unnecessary attack vectors, and that's something that the traditional bridging infrastructure out there currently does. It takes a long time. That's what's currently out there, and we don't think that is the best way to do it. So that is why we have innovated and are doing it a different way.
Awesome. And that is a big thing. And that was another thing, actually, of one of my experiences was I had used, I think it's multi-chain, and didn't realize sometimes if there is low liquidity, you end up with an any token.
Yes.
Again, this was early on. So that was a massive headache and learning curve when you haven't done it before. So again, if that solves this, that's another big thing that's such a pain when it comes to bridging tokens over. So
yeah, the infamous any token, or as I like to say, we don't have your money.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
is what I like.
And
to
hopefully
call
we'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. It'll show up sometime, and that's simply, it's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable in any normal realm of finance, or anything that deals with money in our normal lives or outside of crypto. So it really shouldn't be acceptable in crypto, right? And
No, but
that's
again,
really where we're
somebody
at.
needs to build it, right? So
Exactly.
happy to see you guys here.
That's why we're here. So
yeah. Awesome. Did we want anything else you guys wanted to get into on that side of it? Did we want to kind of show the people how this works and give them kind of a sneak peek, or?
Yeah,
there's
sure.
a couple other things we can definitely get into after, but yeah, Cletus, if you want to run a quick demo, we can show them what it looks like, and then we can explain the decentralized portion of it as well.
And I believe you can, if in the bottom, you should be able to request screen sharing, and then I can allow it.
Okay. Let me go to our site here. So we are still working on making the actual tying in the front end with the back end in this aspect. So what I can show you is a sneak peek of what the any-to-any.io will look like, and then I can also show you this is something else besides the cross-chain DEX, but it is a feature that is launching with the cross-chain DEX itself, and that's the bridgeable NFTs.
Oh yes, that's right too. Yeah, thank you. I definitely wanted to go into that for sure.
let me go ahead and share my screen. Go.
It should come up. So yeah, so while we're waiting for the share screen to come up, yeah, that's the other thing with this protocol is there is an NFT that gives you the ability, I believe, do you have to put it on both ends, or is it just one that you kind of, which is coming from the source?
Yeah. So, big picture, what we're doing is, in addition to the any to any swap decks, we're offering an NFT collection with that, and that NFT collection is called our Cross Chain Cosmonauts NFT collection. And what this collection is doing is it's the first cross chain NFT collection with utility. And so the way that it works is that the NFTs will give discounts on the DEX. So you can stack your NFTs for up to 100% off of DEX fees, where if you have these NFTs and can stack up to 100% off, you can trade for free forever on our DEX. And in addition to that, there's a couple other things that our NFTs offer. And this is not launched just yet, but with the launch of the DEX, this will be available, is the NFT lending, where you'll be able to lend your NFT for passive income to other players in the space. If someone wants to come and rent your NFT, they can do so, in order to get DEX discounts, DEX fees off. You can bridge it to any chain and sell it on any chain if you'd like. There's
Nice.
also airdrops that we're offering through something called Cross Chain Wars, with our NFTs, where actually I'll just go to if I'm sharing my screen right now.
Yeah, go for it.
That DEX
And I
site.
guess with the renting thing, just to get a curiosity, because I remember that being said, and I don't think I ended up asking a question at the time. So if I'm not using it, I can just kind of load it up. Can I just load it up there and people can kind of grab it at will? And then when I need it, I just sort of pull it off of there. Is that how that would work?
Yeah, so it's
Nice.
actually it's really cool how Atlas has built it out, and it's not like other lending platforms for NFTs where there's collateralized lending or anything like that. You put your NFT up on the marketplace, and you're going to be able to select from a few different parameters. So you'll be able to decide how long you want to put it up for someone to lend it for, the price per day, what token you want to receive. So do you want USDC or do you want Matic? Do you want stable or native? And then the way it works is someone will pay you to rent that NFT, but they're not actually taking the NFT. All we're doing is transferring the benefits of the NFT over to them for the time allotted. So you're not actually giving up physical ownership of that NFT or sending it to them, hoping they send it back. And if they don't, you take their collateral. You're actually in control of the NFT the entire time, and they're just going to send you that token you requested straight up front, and that's how that process gets started.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, and this we're seeing is the NFT part of it.
Yeah, and I can show on the screen here what the process would look like for minting one of these NFTs and then bridging it across. So we do have that in testnet right now. Where let me go to a testnet. I'll go to
Just a few wallets there to worry about.
yeah, I'll go to the Polygon one, or the Phantom one. I'll go to the Phantom one here and mint a couple NFTs.
Yeah, and the big thing here is, and so renting it, I guess some of the costs have come down on bridging, but I guess it's going to be a numbers game for anybody where they can hopefully just rent it off to a few different people as they need it, kind of thing. It'll save that person all the hassles of bridging, and then they kind of give it back, I guess, right? Because you're going to need to rent it out a few times, I guess, but I guess you're having it sit there anyway. So what difference does it make to you whether you have somebody using it at the time? Because there's a limit to these, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is. There's only 100 NFTs minted per chain, and so there's a very limited supply of these NFTs. They're going for 200 USDC, so in stables. And the way that they work is that there's 3 different tiers to them. So there's Spacebound, which has a total of 80 mints, and this gives 20% off DEX fees. There's Solar Traveler, which is our second tier. There's 18 mints in here, and that gives 40% off of our DEX fees and 2% off of something called T-Bass, which we can get into in a little bit,
Mhm.
and 1 month of Cardinal House membership, which is one of our partners. And then the last one, this is our most elusive, most elusive tier, the Interdimensional Explorer, which gives, there's only 2 mints here, only 2 NFTs out of 100 per chain, and this gives 80% off DEX fees, 5% off T-Bass, and a 3 month Cardinal House membership. So
Nice.
I just minted a couple of them on the Phantom chain. So I already had a few in here that I've been playing around with, but you can see in here these number 5 and number let's see. I minted a lot in here beforehand, but it looks like number 5 and number 32 were the ones that were minted. Um, So what you can do is you can then transfer these to any other chain that you'd like. And the way that this works is that if the NFT is on it needs to be on the source chain that you're bridging from. So if this NFT is on the Phantom chain, when you bridge out of Phantom, you'll be able to get those DEX fees discounted off.
Mhm.
So in my case, it says 100% because I already have a bunch of NFTs in here that I've activated, um, and I'm getting a 100% off DEX discount, while a 6% off of the T-Bass rate.
So
So
just
I
to clarify that then, if you have multiple NFTs, the discounts combine?
correct.
Nice.
Yes. 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 The discounts stack with the NFTs,
Nice.
and so I can go ahead and bridge. I'll bridge to the number 5 here to the Polygon testnet.
You must have a really wide monitor.
Yeah, I do. I have an ultra wide, so if this is coming in a little weird,
I made it big, so I think it looks good from my end, but I just
okay,
made that's why I took us off the screen, just to kind of make sure everybody could see everything clearly.
okay,
Nobody needs to see my mug all the time. They already see it enough. So what have you just done there? You actually were doing the bridge there?
yes. So I just sent the cross chain cosmonaut testnet number 5 to the Polygon testnet.
Okay, so you've moved the NFT over right now so that you can
Yes.
do the transfer of funds that you're going to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I guess the
So,
other thing to point out with this is, unlike again most bridges, you are much safer to be bridging either a USDT or a stablecoin, but even safer than that, you really should be doing the primary token of any chain, like Matic if you're sending money to BSC, or BNB if you're sending money to Matic, to be safe on most chains. But with this one, you're actually going to be able to do any token you want, right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be able to bridge or swap from any token on one chain to any token on another chain. The initial rollout of the DEX, which is now going to be around mid-January, once our audit is complete, it's going to first start with any native token to any native token. So like Matic on Polygon to AVAX on Avalanche, but we're going to expand from there, and we're working with we're in talks with some other projects here for partnerships to further expand out our routing, for example, to be able to fully route from any to any. Right now, what it is it's under it's a whitelist process. So tokens that we know that are safe, tokens that we know that are really kind of, I don't want to say blue chip, but they're from reputable projects in the space. We're going to whitelist those first, and then for onboarding additional tokens, so if a project were to want to have their token whitelisted with us, that can be a process that we then talk to them and see what their token's all about, see what their project is, and then can work with them and possibly even with auditors to make sure that their project is tight from a security standpoint, to then add their token to our whitelist for tokens that show up.
Okay, so again, just to clarify with that, so right now it won't be any to any. You'll add people that are reputable, and that's solely for a security standpoint for everybody. Is there a point where, and I think you kind of said that, and I apologize, is there a point where it will become any to any, or is it always going to be kind of a thing where you guys are going to hold the keys for a good reason to keep security tight inside this protocol?
Yeah, so it's going to start off with an any native to any native, and then as time progresses, we'll start whitelisting projects. But the grand goal is to have it be any to any, just blanket statement any to any for any token on any chain, period. And that's who we're in talks with several aggregators right now to be able to work with them, because we can go ahead and create that auto routing ourselves. There's nothing stopping us from doing so, but
Mhm.
there's no reason why we should go ahead and reinvent the wheel per se to go ahead and do what they've already done. If we can work with a project that already has that established,
Nice.
where we provide the instant cross chain foundation, and they provide that auto routing. So we're already in talks with some projects about this. I don't want to release anything just yet, but that could be coming very shortly in a couple announcements here, probably this week or next week or something.
Nice. And
So
sorry, I guess I kind of interrupted. So right now you've moved your NFT over to Polygon so that you can do a transfer. So I guess carry on with that. And if anybody has any
yes.
questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. We're happy for pretty much anything.
Yeah. So this is I just bridged the NFT, the number 5 here, from the Phantom chain over to the Polygon testnet. And what this is going to do here is that since the DEX discount is 40, you can see also that some of our other NFTs are activated in here. So you'll see 20 plus 20 plus 40
Oh,
for an
interesting.
80% DEX discount. And then you'll see that since this NFT is a solar traveler, this is our second tier. It has a TBAS discount of 2%. So it's also stacking that TBAS discount. Now, for the actual built out bridge, like I was showing beforehand, that would give discounts on this bridge here, or this any to any swap that I'm showing. We have not yet integrated in this portion that I'm showing here with the any to any. So I'm not going to be able to show that yet today, but at a future date, I would definitely be able to show all that on testnet. So right now, our contracts are being audited by our auditors, so we're just getting that all squared away before making those plugin connections here.
So would
So
that be end up being your own DEX basically? So you don't, you'll still have to go through like Pancake Swap and whatever, I guess, in the back end, but that would be your own at that point.
yes. So we're going to be migrating our liquidity from all those other dexes that we're currently on onto our own CryptoLink dex
Nice.
coming up here in the next couple weeks. So I'll send out an announcement about that as to when that's going to proceed, but that's going to be within the next couple weeks.
Perfect. And yeah, I guess good timing. I can probably throw a little link to your Discord in here while you're showing that off. There you are. If my computer would speed up, I would put a link in there for you guys. Oh, did we lose
Okay.
you?
No, I just stopped
Okay.
sharing for
Okay.
a little bit. I can pull up some slides here that I think might be useful to show, to talk about more of what's going on underneath the hood of our
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
ecosystem, and how everything is kind of structured, and then get into something that is very unique, and we're just launching, and this is just coming out in our V3, and this is something called bridge miners. So I want to get into a lot of that as well. So let me go ahead
Perfect.
and find some visuals. I like to always show visual slides when I'm explaining things, because it helps helps those to see, I'm a visual learner myself.
Well, that's why I was sort of saying that doing the Alive, but the Live too, because it's so simple. You're just dealing with MetaMask, so there's not as much to show that I should have known, but or thought of that. But
that is cool. It's good for people to see it, and I
Yeah.
think it's also important to note that the technology we're using that Atlas developed, the code and the programming is all the same. So if you go and use our bridge currently, V1 bridge, as we like to call it, the one that's operating free of charge at the moment as an MVP on our website, it'll operate at the same speeds, right? So we're just building on top of that technology and decentralizing it a little bit more, but it's going to operate at the same speed. So if you really want to see how easy it will be in general to bridge and cross chains with our platform, you can always use our current bridge. Again, we don't take fees on it right now because it is an MVP. Again, but you'll have a couple more weeks of no fees until we launch the V3 platform, as we like to call it, because we're kind of skipping V2, and we can get into that a little bit later. But yeah, if anybody ever wants to test out our technology and see, are these guys are as fast as they say they are? How does this work? Just go try out that bridge. And if you jump in our Discord and message Cletus or I, will send you some free paper and you can go have at it.
Awesome. Yeah. So again, go to their Discord. The link will be there right on their links page, just like any Discord. And then from there, again, message them like you just said, and that'll help you test it out, because you do need paper still, even with the one that you have. And I guess the only thing they'd be paying there is any fees from the DEX itself of the transaction, or your gas fees, basically.
Yeah, correct. And like I said, we'll send you some free papers. So the only thing you'll be paying on bridging is gas fees, which is network fees, right? So can't avoid that.
Can't avoid those.
Can't avoid that one, unfortunately.
That's
and actually,
true.
we currently, the funny thing is, this is how out of pocket we've been and bootstrapped this has been. We've actually been paying for gas on the source chain. So you just have to pay gas on destination chain. That's it.
Oh wow,
currently.
Nice.
Yeah.
So kind, guys.
Hey man, it's an MVP, so you gotta prove to people it works,
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome.
Part.
While you're playing, just before you get into those, I guess Claire just had a great question. So how come the other bridges don't do this? Have they not figured out how to do bridges fast? So I think that's a great segue into what you're showing under here with the underlying magic.
Yeah. Honestly, it's perfect. So I in order to answer that question, let me get into the underlying magic, and that should answer that question. And if not, then let me know. So the way that our protocol is structured is that there's really 3 layers to what we're doing here. And the foundation layer, this is what we call TBAS, but this is the cross-chain messaging system that can send any form of data between the blockchains in a quick, secure, trustless, and decentralized manner, meaning that we can send anything cross-chain, not only tokens. And this is our foundation layer. So we can send tokens, NFTs, VE NFTs, social media notifications, text messages, any form of data we can send cross-chain. And that's the TBAS, trustless bridging as a service type messaging system that Atlas has built. Now,
so, sorry, just quickly on that, I apologize to interrupt, but technically then if someone wanted to create a text messaging system that was on the blockchain that was totally recorded, if there was a need for that, they could do that through this kind of?
Yes. Our trustless bridging as a service can send any form of data cross chain. Right now, we have really only touched on tokens and NFTs, but any form of data we can send.
Interesting.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we from the beginning we've wanted to share this with everybody, and that's why Atlas built out TBAS really first before anything else, because he was like, okay, well, we could. It makes sense for other protocols to want to go cross chain. Wouldn't everybody want to go cross chain? We should share this with everybody, and it makes sense, right? And so that's why we built that out first, and have just kind of built from there, because the future of blockchain is interoperability between the chains, right? I mean, it really makes sense. It's so difficult to swap between chains right now. So we prefer to share this with everybody. It would make the whole process of crypto easier for the entire population.
Awesome. And if you guys are interested in liking any of this content, please don't forget, I'll do a quick plug for the like and subscribe button. And then let's go into this magic.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. So that was the foundation layer of we can send anything cross chain, any form of data. But the paper bridge is just one example of what we can do. That's one example of the data that we can transfer cross chain. So paper in itself is a client of our core foundation. It's a TBAS client. It's just one example of what we can do,
Yeah.
and that's our middle layer. And then what we're building on top of all this is the cross chain DEX that, like I was saying before in the beginning of this AMA, that it instantly routes cross chain transactions through the paper token to route from if you're going from Polygon to Avalanche, it'd be the Matic token to paper. Paper is bridged across, and then to the AVAX token, all in one click.
Nice.
So the reason why that's I guess all the other bridges are slower, um, they're not doing it as how we are. A lot of these other bridges, they use wrapped liquidity, and they send wrap tokens across the blockchain. We don't do that. We don't send really anything across the blockchain. What we're doing is using a burn and mint method, where we're burning tokens on the source chain, and we send just a message across chains saying to mint the token on the destination chain, and then it mints it on the destination chain. So it's more of like a quantum bridge, if you will, that teleports these tokens across chain, as opposed to wrapping using wrap liquidity and sending it like that.
Which definitely creates better security, better, and obviously a quicker system and all that stuff, which is what all the benefits are. Nice.
Yes, yes. It completely eliminates the attack vector of having large pools of wrapped liquidity just sitting there that are waiting to be exploited. Because I know, as you guys have, anyone who's been listening has maybe followed along in the DeFi space for looking at other bridges. There's been countless bridge hacks, from large blockchains to even just recently with Rubik, for example. They were a DEX aggregator, and they just had 1.1 million in USDC drained from their pools because they allowed an unlimited USDC uh, transactions to occur. So this way that we're doing it here that avoids wrapped liquidity, it eliminates that attack vector, so we just don't have large pools of funds sitting there to be exploited.
So some people that are sitting in liquidity pools will not like it as much, but now they can go bring their money in other parts of DeFi.
Yeah, and with this, what the main goal of us is to connect the blockchains together.
Nope, awesome.
So really, that's I'll move on to this slide here. That what we offer is we offer two things. This is offer a cross chain swap, which is our B2C. This is the any to any swap bridge that we're talking about. The original date for this was New Year's Eve, but we recently had a partnership with a security protocol called Prisma Shield, and we're working very closely with them to get a full audit. But the way that they're doing their audit is a little bit different. It's called a deep logic audit, and so we're getting a lot of beneficial additional perks from them in addition to just a straight up audit. For example, 24/7 monitoring of our DEX at all times. But yeah, so we're offering the cross chain swap in a B2C method, and then trustless bridging as a service, which is our B2B, where we're actively selling our technology as a service to other projects who would want to bring their tokens, NFTs, or any form of data cross chain. So if there's any projects out there that want to have their token be bridgeable, that wanted to have their NFTs be bridgeable, or just any form of data that they want to use us as an infrastructure and to send data across the blockchains, we can do that. And so for example, what that would be is if a project wanted to have a cross-chain pre-sale. So if there's a launch pad out there and and they're constantly offering pre-sales for these tokens, they could use us to offer cross-chain pre-sales. So these projects that are launching can accept any token from any blockchain to then fund their pre-sale. This would also work with NFTs. So if there's an NFT project out there that wants to be able to accept any token for their NFT mint, they can do that as well, or possibly even have their token be natively bridgeable across blockchains. The possibilities of this cross-chain communication that we're offering is quite limitless.
Nice. And I guess one, just out of curiosity, one limitation there, would it be, for instance, certain chains that wouldn't be able to? Because I'm thinking things like Cadena right now has a hard time getting funds back and forth, but I presume they wouldn't be able to interact with this yet because because it's a different language, like it uses Pact as opposed to Solidity. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I don't know too much about Cadena, but right now we are limited to EVM chains.
I figured.
But
Okay. Makes sense.
in the future, we'll be expanding to non EVM chains as well. So currently only chains that are using Solidity with EVM capability
Cool.
is what we can reach.
That still gives you a lot of action right now because the other ones are still small, but just something to be aware of is neat. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and so like I guess for some examples of where we plan on going in the future is our developer, our founder and lead developer Atlas. He knows Haskell, for example, and so he's spent some time in the Cardano ecosystem, and Cardano is definitely in our sights. Same thing with Solana. If things stay, if Solana stays a chain,
hopefully
hopefully
to see that go, but
I guess we could pivot into talking about bridge miners, and this is something that we're very excited to discuss as well. And Wally, I'll let you kind of take this one, or if if anyone has any questions from the crowd, or if you have any questions.
Bob says I actually am not a huge Cadena holder yet, but hopefully at some point I will be. I am bullish on them, but stuff like that and DAG and stuff are obviously things to see. And then Prince just said obviously Cardano was a must.
Oh yes,
definitely a Cardano fan there. I actually have not had a lot of experience in there. I've looked at one protocol. They're doing some mining and stuff, so I'm curious about possibly dipping my toes in that ecosystem. I have not done so yet, but and then I guess Clara obviously did ask it. So how come? So I guess the reason why nobody's done this is to create the technology you guys are creating. It's just not there yet. So you guys have basically made the technology that is allowing this to happen, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And it's not. I mean, Atlas has said a few times. It's nothing overly revolutionary for a good developer, but it's just something that nobody had come up with yet. Atlas has built it completely out at this point, and he's the first to do it. So that's essentially the idea behind it. Atlas always likes to stress the point that he likes to keep his code minimal because it lessens the attack vectors. So his code's actually quite simple. He always likes to say that. I mean, it wouldn't be simple to me because I don't understand anything about programming. But he says to a good developer, it would be simple if they understood what was going on behind the scene. But he said people just haven't. They're not. It's just a case of people thinking about the problem in a different way, right? So.
Sorry, and Claire asking just. Obviously, is this forkable kind of thing then? Are you guys going to be hit with this kind of copycats very quickly once this gets out, or is it kind of harder to do that with this technology?
If people had our code, then they could fork us. Theoretically, anybody could fork us. But I mean, we're keeping our code. Obviously, our ERC 721 and ERC 20 bridgeable extensions, we will have available to people. But to my knowledge, Atlas, we're going to get it audited, and we'll get it audited multiple times over the course of, the rest of our existence, and and we'll get continuous audits and things like that by reputable companies. But Atlas would like to keep the secret a secret for now, obviously.
Don't blame them. And it makes sense, exactly.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to do this, well, they got to put the work in if they want to.
Right. And you also run into some like weird issues with patents and trademarks with a technology that now has technically been used on the market already because we've had our MVP available to the public. So you just run into issues like that where people are always like, well, why don't you just trademark it? And it's just not that simple all the time.
No.
So, I mean, you know how it goes. So we try to keep as much of the proprietary stuff proprietary while trying to explain in essence, how this all works so people get a grasp of it and all of that.
And I'm sure we're getting to this, but Prince just said, obviously, how do we get involved in or invest in this project? So I'm sure we'll get to that. I'm assuming you want to go a little further into this next one, which I did hear about, and I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really one way you can get involved in the project. This is more on the higher end scale of getting involved in the project. These are called bridge miners, and this is a new method that Atlas has developed. We know of one bridge that sort of does a similar thing. It's not nearly as robust as this and not nearly as decentralized. But what these are third-party validator nodes that earn fees for facilitating our bridge transactions. So this is adding another layer of security on top, and our bridge miners will have for multiple different layers, right? So we will have industry leaders running miners, such as the auditing firm that we're partnered with. So this will not collect fees.
Trying to go to that page here.
Cletus is trying to find it. We may not.
It's not in this exact.
That's okay though. I can explain it.
That's
no
fine.
problem
Yeah,
at all.
Go ahead.
So we'll have industry leader miners that we're going to offer for free. No initial liquidity requirement or anything like that. They won't receive fees either. This will just be simply an added security bonus. We'll call that proof of reputation. So our auditing firm that we're partnered with, Prisma Shield, they'll be running one of those, for example. Any other large industry leaders, respected projects or individuals in the space that would like to run one just to help decentralize the bridge, more than welcome to. We'll have our proof of builders layer, which will be miners run by projects that are using our TBAS service. These will also be, no initial liquidity stake, no fees collected. They'll just be validating transactions because they're a part of TBAS anyways. So we're just going to add another layer of security there. Another layer will be the CryptoLink miners. We'll run some ourselves, obviously, to, again, more security, the better. We won't even collect fees on those. So we're not actually going to collect any of the 20% that goes back, which leads me to the community miners, which is an incredible opportunity for projects looking to bring in income or revenue for their token holders or NFT holders, things like that. Individuals that have a decent amount of liquidity or money sitting around or crypto sitting around that want a good, something somewhere, sustainable, I would say, is the best way to put it, because we're looking at a sustainable model here to put their money in and bring in good revenue and good rewards from that. And these are our community miners. So these are going to require an initial liquidity stake of $10,000 equivalent to paper. So it'll actually be put up in USDC, and the initial deals will happen, over the counter, and to avoid the initial price impact. And as we move on from there and gain more miners, the initial liquidity requirement is going to go up because we want to reward those early miners. So Cletus, if you want to tab on over to that next slide here. Perfect. So as you can see, these are the rewards and how they're being earned across our ecosystem. So the bridge miners are getting the largest percentage of that. So bridge miner reward pools on each chain are going to earn 20% of the fees that are distributed back to CryptoLink. So we are just going to straight off the top. So if you have a miner on Polygon, you will be able to claim rewards from the reward pool on Polygon that will be earning Matic straight off the top of all the transactions made on our cross-chain DEX, going out of Matic, right? So, if there any transaction that comes out of Matic, we'll take that percent fee. Then out of that percent fee, the bridge miners will get 20% of that, and it'll be equally distributed among the bridge miners on that chain. So it's the APRs and the fees distributed back to your miner specifically is not based upon your initial stake, right? The initial stake happens to be a scaled model because we want to reward the early adopters. But if you have a miner, you have equal share of that pool as anybody else that has a miner. And as you can see there, we have 5% source rewards. We can get into that a little bit. We've talked about that with some of the DEX aggregators. We'll be, kicking 5% of any fees that we collect back to any player that has a widget displayed on their website that routes through our cross-chain DEX. So they'll get 5% back there. 5% goes to Ink Native LP, and 10% goes back to the paper native liquidity providers. So bridge miners are getting the largest chunk there. We want to incentivize bridge miners the most because they are helping decentralize the ecosystem, remove attack vectors, and truly create the first fully decentralized cross-chain infrastructure out there.
Very nice. Yeah, no, that's huge. Sweet. Any other slides we're going through here? Or is that the whole thing?
There's always more. There's always more.
Yeah, we go into detail forever, but I guess we don't have forever. Usually we like to try and end these after an hour, and we are on 50 minutes. But I definitely, if there's anything else you want to poke in there, I think that slide you just pulled up, that was kind of going through the ROI on the 10K miners that people could do. I don't know if there was desire to go into that at all. Obviously, any more details on that kind of stuff, the call to action there, which is free, is head by the Discord and have a chat with you guys, because somebody's always there to be supportive. And is Cardinal House, I think are they getting one of those, I presume?
Yes. So Cardinal House is raising right now for one of the bridge miners through something that they call Node Runner. It's one of their projects where they decentralize a node and then through NFTs. And so the NFTs for them would go for $100. And in order to be a part of that, you need to be part of their Cardinal Crew membership. But they're raising funds to be able to get one of these bridge miners and then stake it on the Polygon chain. So this is one of the things that they're doing. But the way that the bridge miners work is that the fees are through a scaled model where they're going on a first come first serve basis. So the first two miners on a chain are going for 10,000 in a proof of stake model, meaning that at any point in time, you can stake and be able to get this miner if you were one of the first two people on a chain. But if you wanted to, you could also unstake. It's not like you're giving us these funds and we're locking it forever, or we're just keeping it. These are your funds. It's always going to stay your funds, your money. We're not keeping that for ourselves. So you can stake, and if once you're done, if you came to the conclusion, you go, well, I need this money now, I need it elsewhere. Maybe you have a housing payment or something. You can then unstake, and of course, you would lose that revenue that you'd be getting from the bridge miners. But it's a way that we're saying that we're not locking your funds. It's open to anyone to stake and to unstake.
So I stake it in there. I get my revenue over time, which I get to keep. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I want to get out. I get my whole 10 grand back. And do you guys then sell another one at 10 grand, or just you leave it at that?
Yeah. So it's since it's a first come first serve basis and it is programmed into the smart contract, those first two that we're selling for, I don't want to say selling because it's more of that we're offering for a proof of stake at 10 grand. Those ones are only for the first two that stake. So if someone were to come in after that, or if one person were to unstake, that 10K would still not be available. It's really, I guess you can call it an early bird special for the first two that do stake. But then after the first two, then it scales up to 25K. And then after 25, it scales up to 50 and then 100. Okay. So to get in on the bottom floor really is quite beneficial because the APRs that we're going to be, rewarding for this, it's based on a per miner basis, meaning that the first miner that gets in for 10K and they stake for 10K, they're going to be making 10 times the APR that someone comes in with 100K, for example, and stakes.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's awesome. And then with that too, even choosing which one you go into, which one you choose to, whether it's Polygon or BSC or whatever, I guess there's some advantage there as well to get in first, because some chains will be more active than others, I presume, and the payments will be in those based on those chains' activity, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And so like if you're bullish on a certain chain, it'd be a good idea to get a miner on that given chain, because not only would you be able to receive that additional volume, that volume would be rewarded in the blockchain native coins.
I
So
see.
if you were on the Polygon blockchain, this would be rewarded in the Matic token.
Okay, perfect. And anybody else in the audience, if you have any other questions, now's the time, because I'm sure we'll be wrapping up in a minute. Anything else that you guys wanted to make sure we touched on today?
Yeah, I mean, real quick, I could we have a scenario already drawn out here. So if I can give some example numbers and kind of explain to people how this will work. So in theory, if we were generating 300,000 in 24-hour volume on Polygon, and there's 6 bridge miners on Polygon, right, sometime in the future, our total rewards for Polygon miners in that year would be about $240,900 in Matic. And the first miner who's staked for 10K would be rewarded 40,150, their share of that, their 1/6 of that, which is about 401%, right? And then you go down to the 6th miner, and that 6th miner who is staked for 50K is also getting that same amount. So he's getting a much lower APR. Now, the APR is still really nice there. I mean, you're looking at like an 80% because it's 40,000 on 50K staked, right? But it's still, you can kind of visualize how that model scales there, right?
Nice. And
Trying to share my screen here.
Yeah, because I thought there was a visual for that.
Yeah, there is a visual.
There's normally visuals for everything. We kind of have them strewn out about different presentations.
And Claire just wanted to clarify what clarify. And Claire, by all means, is a newer-ish, I think. Claire, hopefully I'm not undercutting you there, but YouTuber as well. So if you get a chance, go and check her out. I had a few of good buddies of mine coming in to support the channel, I think, earlier, and I'm sure some of them are still here. But so I appreciate those guys, Murdoch and Jack and whatnot, just to give them a quick plug because they're really good to plug me. But yeah, she was just clarifying, I guess, if it's 10K in paper, that's not the case. It's right. You were doing US like stablecoin, I think, for the buying the miners.
Yeah. So if you're interested in running a miner, just reach out to us. We can go into it. We'll give you a full presentation. I mean, we'll build the presentation for you specifically. So we'll go into a lot more in depth on how this would work. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll be a $10,000 USD equivalent of paper upfront and initial liquidity requirement. And then we're going to zap that into liquidity. So it'll be, we can do USDC. I think we could also do native tokens as well, if you'd rather just do that, because we're just zapping it into liquidity behind the scenes anyways. And we're going to pair that we're pairing that with treasury paper as well.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So it's just have a chat with you guys and go from there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep. Awesome. Anything else?
I think we touched on everything. Cletus, you covered TBAS pretty well there. So that's good. I do want to just, reemphasize, if you think that interoperability is the future, which I think a lot of us do believe, and if you know a project that could benefit from going cross-chain, or you run a project that you think could benefit from going cross-chain, reach out to us. Again, we want to share it with everybody. There's no upfront cost for TBAS, and we can go through the models with you and how it would work. But again, we have an ERC20 bridgeable extension that Alice wrote out, and then, to our knowledge, the very first ERC 721 bridgeable extension that Alice has completely built out and finalized that we can tack on to anybody's NFT. So that's just really cool stuff that's built out. Bear markets for building, right?
No, exactly. And that's the great opportunity here. And I agree. And at the same token, I do talk to a bunch of different protocols. So I'll definitely keep you guys in mind. I have forwarded one, but that didn't work out, but we'll just leave it at that. But otherwise there's definitely, I think, a lot of opportunity here for this technology. So I do appreciate you guys coming on and giving us a little bit of the lowdown. And hopefully we'll have you on again as new stuff comes out. Don't hesitate to reach out, because I'm really happy to see something really useful for the industry and something that can bring change to the blockchain technology that's kind of been, I wouldn't say stagnant. A lot of the stuff, and we all know it, a lot of this stuff right now is Ponzi. There's very little innovation over the last little bit, but I do hope and I do think there's a lot of stuff happening in the background, and this is kind of some of that stuff, which is really neat and cool, and looking forward to seeing how it gets implemented. And I don't know if I think you guys do have something that I think more protocols should know about. So I'm happy to kind of poke it at them whenever I see them. So awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for having us on.
Yes,
my
thank you. Thank you.
man.
So thanks so much, guys. And as normal, on our way out there, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as I said, the Discord, I'll post it in the description for the replays for this. Do go by and say hi to Cletus and Wally and the gang, because yeah, they're great people. I've heard you guys speak a couple of times and do appreciate what you guys are bringing to the table. So Prince will send us out with thanks, guys.
Perfect. Thank you all. Take
Bye,
care,
guys.
folks.
Yep, thanks everybody. Thanks for having us. Bye-bye.